The Republic and Canton of Ticino. Ticino is the southernmost canton of Switzerland. Ticino borders the Canton of Uri to the north, Valais to the west, Graubünden to the northeast, Italy's regions of Piedmont and Lombardy to the south, and it surrounds the small Italian exclave of Campione Italia, named after the Ticino River. It is the only canton where Italian is the sole official language and represents the bulk of the Italian-speaking area of Switzerland, along with the southern sections of Graubünden. The land now occupied by the canton was annexed from Italian cities in the 15th century by various Swiss forces in the last Transalpine campaigns of the Old Swiss Confederacy. In the Helvetic Republic, established 1798, it was divided between the cantons of Bellinzona and Lugano, which since the formation of the Swiss Confederation 5 years later have been the cantons districts. Etymology: the name Ticino was chosen for the newly established canton in 1803, after the Ticino River, which flows through it from the Nuffnen Pass to Lake Maggiore. Known as Tisnus in Roman times, the river appears on the Tabula Peutingeriana as Ticinum. Johann Caspasius attributed Celtic origins to the name, tracing it to the Celtic tek itself from an Indo-European root tak, meaning melting, flowing. History: in ancient times, the area of what is today Ticino was settled by the Leponci, a Celtic tribe. Later, probably around the rule of Augustus, it became part of the Roman Empire. After the fall of the Western Empire, was ruled by the Ostrogoths, the Lombards and the Franks. Around 1100 it was the center of struggle between the free communes of Milan and Como. In the 14th century it was acquired by the Visconti, Dukes of Milan. In the 15th century the Swiss Confederates conquered the valleys south of the Alps in 3 separate conquests. Between 1403 and 1422 some of these lands were already annexed by forces from the Canton of Uri, but subsequently lost. Uri conquered the Levantine Valley in 1440. In a second conquest, Uri, Schweiz and Nidwalden gained the town of Bellinzona and the Riviera in 1500. Some of the land and Bellinzona itself were previously annexed by Uri in 1419 but lost again in 1422. The third conquest was fought by troops from the entire Confederation. In 1512 Locarno, the Maggia Valley, Lugano and Mendrisio were annexed. Subsequently, the upper valley of the Ticino River, from the St. Gotthard to the town of Biasca, was part of Uri. The remaining territory was administered by 12 cantons. These districts were governed by bailiffs holding office for 2 years and purchasing it from the members of the League. The lands of the Canton of Ticino are the last lands to be conquered by the Swiss Confederation. The Confederation gave up any further conquests after the defeat at the Battle of Marignano in 1515 by Francis I of France. The Val-Levantine revolted unsuccessfully against Uri in 1755. In February 1798 an attempt of annexation by the Cisalpine Republic was repelled by the volunteer militia in Lugano. Between 1798 and 1803, during the Helvetic Republic, the districts of Bellinzona and Lugano were separate cantons. But in 1803 the two were unified to form the Canton of Ticino that joined the Swiss Confederation as a full member in the same year. During the Napoleonic Wars, many Ticinesi served in Swiss military units allied with the French. The canton minted its own currency, the Ticinese franco, between 1813 and 1850, when it began use of the Swiss franc. In the early 19th century, the contemporary Franco-Danish scholar Konrad Moltebrand stated that the Canton of Ticino is the poorest, and the people the most ignorant that of any in Switzerland. Until 1878, the three largest cities, Bellinzona, Lugano and Locarno, alternated as capital of the canton. In 1878, however, Bellinzona became the only and permanent capital. The 1870 to 1891 period saw a surge of political turbulence in Ticino, and the authorities needed the assistance of the federal government to restore order in several instances. In 1870, 1876, 1889 and 1890 to 1891. The current cantonal constitution dates from 1997. The previous constitution, heavily modified, was codified in 1830, nearly 20 years before the constitution of the Swiss Confederation. Geography. The Canton of Ticino is in the south of Switzerland, almost entirely surrounded by Italy. To the north of the cantons of Valais and Uri, to the northeast the canton of Graubünden. Its area is 2,812 square kilometers, of which about 3/4 are considered productive to trees or crops. Forests cover about a third of the area, but also the lakes Maggiore and Lugano make up a considerable minority. The canton can be split into two at the Monte Cenieri Pass. The northern, highest part, the Supraceneri, is formed by the two major Swiss valleys around Lake Maggiore, Ticino Valley and Maggia Valley. The southern part, the Sottocenieri, is the region around Lake Lugano. The Ticino River is the largest river in the canton. It drains most of the canton, flowing from the northwest through the Bedretto Valley and the Levantino Valley to enter Lake Maggiore near Locarno. Its main tributaries are the Breno in the Blenio Valley and the Mosa in the Mesolcina Valley in Graubünden. The lands of most of the canton are shaped by the river, which in its mid-portion forms a wide valley, commonly known as the Riviera. The western lands of the canton, however, are drained by the Maggia River. The Vale Versasca is between the Ticino and the Maggia. There is also a smaller area that drains directly into the Lake Lugano. Most of the land is considered within the Alps, but a small area is part of the plain of the River Po, which drains the north of Italy. Climate. The climate of Ticino, while remaining alpine, is noticeably milder than the rest of Switzerland's, enjoying a higher number of sunshine hours and generally warmer temperatures. In German-speaking Switzerland, Ticino is nicknamed Sonnenstube owing to the more than 2,300 sunshine hours the canton receives every year, compared to 1,700 for Zurich. Additionally, Ticino is prone to fierce storms and has the highest level of lightning discharge in the whole of Europe. Government. The current constitution of the Republican Canton of Ticino, originating from a draft approved on the 18th of August 1801 during the Helvetic Republic, was approved on the 14th of December 1997. In its preamble, it states that it was created by the Ticinese people in order to guarantee peaceful life together with respect for the dignity of man, fundamental liberties and social justice, faithful to its historic task to interpret Italian culture within the Helvetic Confederation. The Grand Council is the legislative authority of the canton, exercising sovereignty over any matter not explicitly delegated by the Constitution to another authority. The Grand Consiglio has 90 members called deputation, elected in a single constituency using the proportional representation system. Deputies serve 4-year terms, and annually nominate a president and 2 vice-presidents. The Grand Consiglio meets in Bellinzona, the cantonal capital. The 5-member Council of State, not to be confused with the Federal Council of States, is the executive authority of the canton, and it directs cantonal affairs according to law and the Constitution. It is elected in a single constituency using the proportional representation system. Currently, the 5 members of the government are Claudio Zali, Paolo Beltraminelli, Manuel Bertoli, Norman Gobbi and Christian Vita. Each year, the Council of State nominates its president. The current president of the Council of State is Paolo Beltraminelli. Since a referendum in September 2013, Ticino is the only Swiss canton where wearing full face veils is illegal. Supporters of the ban cited the case of a 20-year-old Pakistani woman from Bellinzona, who was killed by her husband for refusing to wear a headscarf. The most recent elections were held on 10 April 2011. The turnout was 58.5%. The following table shows the results of the 2011 election. Political subdivisions. Districts. The Canton of Ticino is divided into 8 districts: Bellinzona with capital Bellinzona, Blenio with capital Acquaraso, Leventina with capital Fido, Locarno with capital Locarno, Lugano with capital Lugano, Mendrisio with capital Mendrisio, Riviera with capital Ossogna, Vallamaggiore with capital Sevio. Municipalities. There are 157 municipalities in the canton. These municipalities are grouped in 38 circoli, which are in turn grouped into districts. Since late 1990 there is an ongoing project to aggregate some municipalities. Demographics. Ticino has a population of 350,363. As of 2008, the population included 82,794 foreigners, or about 25.2% of the total population. The population density is 114.6 persons per square kilometer. As of 2000, 83.1% of the population spoke Italian, 8.3% spoke German and 1.7% spoke Serbo-Croatian. The population is mostly Roman Catholic, with a Protestant minority, further Christian denominations, Islam, other religions, religion unknown. The official language, and the one used for most written communication, is Swiss Italian. Despite being very similar to Standard Italian, Swiss Italian presents some differences to the Italian spoken in Italy due to the presence of French and German from which it assimilates words. Dialects of the Lombard language such as Ticinese are still spoken, especially in the valleys, but they are not used for official purposes. Despite the dominance of Italian speakers, fluency in German is an important prerequisite in many jobs, be they in shops and restaurants catering to German-speaking tourists or in the insurance and banking business. Despite the overall prominence of Italian in Ticino, the small municipality of Bosco-Guerin is historically German-speaking. Economy. Tertiary sector workers make up 76.5% of the Ticinese workforce, compared to the Swiss average of 67.1%. Commerce, tourism and financial activities are all important for the local economy, while the contribution from agriculture and fishing is marginal, employing 6.5% of the workforce on a Swiss average of 15.4%. The median gross private sector monthly salary in 2012 was 5,091 francs, below the national average of 6,118 francs. The median income in 2011 was 44,400 francs, the second lowest in Switzerland. Lugano is Switzerland's third largest financial center after Zurich and Geneva. The banking industry alone has 8,400 employees and generates 17% of the gross cantonal product. Because of Ticino's shared language and culture, its financial industry has very close ties to Italy. In 2008, Ticino had an unemployment rate of 5%, higher than in rest of Switzerland, where it was estimated at 3.4%, and particularly high for foreigners. Frontaliere commuter workers living in Italy but working regularly in Ticino form a large part of the workforce, far larger than in the rest of Switzerland, where the rate is below 5%. Foreigners in general hold 44.3% of all the jobs, again a much higher rate than elsewhere in the Confederation. Frontalieri are usually paid less than Swiss workers for their jobs, and tend to serve as low-cost labor. Italy is by far Ticino's most important foreign trading partner, but there's a huge trade deficit between imports and exports. By 2013, Germany had become the Canton's main export market, receiving 23.1% of the total, compared to 15.8% for Italy and 9.9% for the United States. Many Italian companies relocate to Ticino, either temporarily or permanently, seeking lower taxes and an efficient bureaucracy. Just as many Ticinese entrepreneurs doing business in Italy complain of red tape and widespread protectionism. 3 of the world's largest gold refineries are based in Ticino, including the Pampa refinery in Castel San Pietro, the leading manufacturer of minted gold bars. The opening of the Gotthard Railway in 1882 led to the establishment of a sizable tourist industry, mostly catering to German speakers. Although since the early 2000s the industry has suffered from the competition of more distant destinations. In 2011, 1,728,888 overnight stays were recorded. The mild climate throughout the year makes the canton a popular destination for hikers. The Versesca Dam, known for the opening scene of the 1995 film GoldenEye, is popular with bungee jumpers. Swiss Minage in Melide is a miniature park featuring scale models of over 120 Swiss attractions. The Brissago Islands on Lake Maggiore are the only Swiss islands south of the Alps, and house botanical gardens with 1,600 different plant species from 5 continents. Transport. There are several tunnels underneath the Gotthard Pass connecting the canton to northern Switzerland. The first to be opened was the 15 km long Gotthard Rail Tunnel in 1882, replacing the Pass Road, connecting Airolo with Goschenen in the Canton of Uri. A 17 km motorway tunnel, the Gotthard Road Tunnel, opened in 1980. A second rail tunnel through the pass, the Gotthard Base Tunnel, was opened on June 1, 2016. The new tunnel is the longest tunnel in the world, reducing travel time between Zurich and Lugano to 1 hour 40 minutes. Treni Regionali Ticino-Lombardia, a joint venture between the Italian Ferrovie dello Stato and the Swiss Federal Railways, launched in 2004, manages the traffic between the regional railways of Lombardy and the Ticino railway network via a S-Bahn system. The regional bus and rail company of Canton Ticino provides the urban and suburban bus network of Locarno, operates the cable cars between Verdecio and Raza, and between Intragna Pila Costa on behalf of the owning companies and, together with an Italian company, the Centre Valais and Vigezina Railway, which connects the Gotthard Transalpine rail route at Locarno with the Simplon Transalpine route. The canton has a higher than average incidence of traffic accidents, recording 16 deaths or serious injuries per 100 million kilometers in the 2004 to 2006 period, compared to a Swiss average of 6. Lugano Airport is the busiest airport in southern Switzerland, serving some 200,000 passengers a year. Education. There are 2 major centers of education and research located in the Canton of Ticino. University of the Italian Switzerland in Lugano is the only Swiss university teaching in Italian. The University of Applied Sciences and Arts of Southern Switzerland in Minot is a professional training college focused on a practical method of teaching in the areas of applied art, economy, social work, technology and production science. There is also a small American and Swiss accredited private college, Franklin University, Switzerland, located above Lugano. as well as the American School in Switzerland in Collina d'Oro, a K-13 international school accepting day and boarding students. Culture. Ticino hosts 2 World Heritage Sites, the 3 castles of Bellinzona and Monte San Giorgio. The city of Locarno is host to the Locarno International Film Festival, Switzerland's most prestigious film festival, held during the second week of August. Festival Jazz, a free open-air jazz festival, is held in Lugano and Mendrisio in late June and July. Past lineups have included Buddy Guy, Van Morrison, Yes, Jethro Tull, Yellow Jackets, Al Jarreau, Randy Brecker. Ticino has a rich architectural heritage, ranging from Romanesque and Baroque to contemporary styles. The canton is home to internationally recognized architects, such as Mario Botta, Aurelio Galfetti, Luigi Snozzi, Livio Vacchioni. As early as the 18th century, aristocrats from Russia and Italy employed numerous architects from Ticino. More recently, the region became a center of the neo-rationalist tendenza movement. Polenta, along with chestnuts and potatoes, was for centuries one of the staple foods in Ticino, and it remains a mainstay of local cuisine. Grottos are a kind of rustic, family-run restaurant that is prevalent in Ticino. They serve local wine in a little ceramic jug known as boccolino, which is also a popular souvenir for tourists. Gazzosa Ticinese, a soft drink available in lemon and a number of other flavors, is one of the most popular beverages from Ticino, and is also common in other regions of Switzerland. It usually comes in flip-top bottles. The estimate for the production of gazzosa in Ticino is 7 to 8 million bottles a year. Boccia is a folk game that was once a popular pastime locally, but by the early 21st century it was seldom played by younger people. Newspapers and magazines published in Ticino include Corriere del Ticino, La Regione Ticino, Giornale del Popolo, Il Mattino della Domenica, Il Caffè, L'Informatore, and the German-language Tessina Zeitung. Bibliography. Marcello Sorsacolo, Canton Ticino, Una identità musicale. Cenobio, LII April to June, pp. 171–184, also later published in Bulletin, Schweizerische Gesellschaft für Musikethnologie und Gesellschaft für die Volksmusik in der Schweiz, October 2005, pp. 30–37.